Wait, let's finish this list. Starting with number 10.
Number 10, Toy Story 2.
Toy Story 2 is a great movie. I really like Toy Story 2. You might not know, but I'm a big fan of Toy Story. I was a big fan of Toy Story growing up. I really like Toy Story. And as sequels go, this is a really good sequel. And basically in the sequel, well, the first one, it was Woody showing Buzz how he needed to be a toy. He needed to allow Andy to play with him. Allow Andy to be a toy. Be there for Andy. And in the sequel, the rules are switched. Basically what happens is Woody gets stolen from a yard sale where he's on accident at. He wasn't supposed to be there. And the guy steals him and drives off with him. This guy is a collector. He collects toys, and he just finished his big collection. Now he has all of the Woody toys, and he can sell all that stuff. So basically, Woody is a character from this TV show called The Woody's Roundup. And this TV show was discontinued, and also were all the toys. So now Woody dolls are worth a lot. And he's this one-of-a-kind Woody doll that this guy got a hold of. And he said, oh my goodness, I'm going to sell this for a lot of money. He had all the rest of the other things. He had a doll named Jessie, who was also a part of the collection. He had the Prospect, who was another part, and Bullseye, who Woody's corpse. All fun little characters. These characters are a lot of fun to watch. But basically, what happens is Woody, at first, he's like, I need to get back to Andy. Then Jessie explains to him out in this very beautiful song about how one day her owner grew up and just abandoned her. So maybe he should just abandon Woody now, because the fact of the matter is that Andy one day will abandon him anyways. So he should just forget about him now while he still can. Plus, also, by being in this collection, and for his whole lifetime, Woody would be able to be loved by kids. But the one thing that when Buzz shows up, he has to try to convince Woody of, he will never be truly loved by the kids. He will be looked at by the kids behind glass. He will be stuck behind glass for his whole life. He will just be looking at these kids. These kids will be loving him, but they won't be able to hold him. They won't be able to play with him. He's a collectible. He's now just behind glass. That's all he is. He's just a doll behind glass now. And Buzz has to try to convince him that Andy actually loves him and that Andy wants him back. And it's really interesting because it follows up with the original, where Woody was very jealous of Buzz for taking his spot. And now you see you think, oh, maybe he's over it now. He loves Buzz, he loves Andy and all that. But he still has some parts of him that's just like, I want to be loved forever. And he saw with, Buzz. And he started loving Buzz more. And now he found that there was a group of people who would do anything to love him, because he is Woody, the big guy, the man himself from the Woody's Roundup. So it's a whole story of him trying to discover whether he wants to be loved for eternity or give a child happiness for the moment. And you can probably guess which one he chooses. Very cool story, very hot. It's a Pixar movie, so of course it has some heart-wrenching moments in it. Very good movie. If you haven't seen it yet and you really like the original Toy Story movie, it's worth watching. It's really good.
Number 9, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle.
The second Jumanji movie is actually pretty good. I believe I actually might have watched this before I watched the original, but as follow-ups go, it's really good. For those who do not know what Jumanji is, it's a movie about a board game that has it's almost like a live. The board game is a cursed board game where everything that happens in the board game happens in real life. So in this movie, basically, we're now in the 21st century. This board game is not loved by kids anymore. What do kids like to play when it comes to games? Video games. So in this board game, what happens is this kid finds this board game, and he throws it away because he's like, no one wants a board game. But then the very next morning when he wakes up, he sees that it turned into this video game. So he starts playing the video game. He puts the video game in. He turns on the controller, clicks play, and then he picks his character and he clicks play. Then suddenly he gets sucked into the game. And then it cuts to 20 years later. Now we're in the late 2010s. And these group of high schoolers all get attention. And they're cleaning up in the storage room when they come upon the Jumanji game. And they decide to try to play it instead of doing their work on detention. And when they start up the game, they all pick their characters and they get sucked into this world. And basically what happens is they each get changed into a different avatar. And so this nerdy kid gets changed into a character played by The Rock, which is really funny because then you see that this skinny, nerdy guy. You see The Rock acting like he's can't understand why he would have muscles and trying to act like he's this nerdy type kid stuck in this really strong guy body, and he's just oh, this is awesome. Look at my muscles and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun. You have Kevin Hart plays as an avatar for a football player, and it's hilarious because you see this big tough guy in this short guy body as a zoologist, I believe, and it's a lot of fun. But you really see the fighting back and forth between The Rock and Kevin Hart in this movie. It's a lot of fun. And then you have Jack Black playing as the avatar for a teenage girl, which is hilarious, seeing him just act like he's a teenage girl. A lot of fun. So overall, if you like the original Jumanji movie and you want to see the sequel's really, really good, especially with the visuals, and it's a great follow-up to the original. They do a great job with updating it. It makes sense why Jumanji would turn into a video game. And it does a great job. As a video game movie, it does a great job too. It's a very fun video game movie. For all those people who say that video game movies cannot be good, this is an example of a video game movie that's really a solid video game movie. So if you haven't seen this one yet, the visual is awesome. The story is fun. If you like the original, you'll probably like this one too.
Number 8, Catching Fire.
Another trilogy that appeared on my top trilogies, The Hunger Games. The second Hunger Games movie is really good. For those who have not seen the Hunger Games movie, please check it out. It's really, really good. For those who have seen it, you would know that. And if you guys haven't seen the sequel to it, basically what happens in the sequel is, as with the original, Katniss Everdeen and Peter Malloch won the Hunger Games. Now, because of what they did with their stunt with the berries, the whole country is in an uproar. The districts are starting to think about starting a second civil war. And President Snow comes to Katniss and say, hey, you need to make sure that you play this act of being in love with Peter Malloch, because if you don't, then they'll just think that you would define the capital and not just willing to give up your life for the person you love. So they have to hold that. They have to try to pretend like they're in love again. But the big thing about this is it does a great job setting up the next movies, because there's 2 other movies after this where you see the capital starting to crumble. I don't want to spoil too much about this movie, but there's some great things that happen in this movie. As it goes, this is probably, out of all 4 of the movies, this is probably my least favorite of the movies, but it's still a really good movie. I really enjoy the movie. It has some great moments in it. You have my favorite character, Finnecoder, come up in this movie. He's awesome. Overall, if you haven't seen this one yet, please check this movie out, because it's really, and if you have seen the original and you want this, and you haven't bothered checking out the second one yet, check out the second one, because it's really good and it's a great follow-up. Continues the character stories, but it also builds on it, saying, look at the consequences that comes out of your actions that they made, the actions they did in the first movie. Now they have to live with those consequences, and it's causing this uprising in the districts. Very fun movie. If you haven't seen it yet, check this one out, and then you can check out the third and the fourth movie too.
Number 7, the Apple Dumpling Gang rides again.
Alright, this is now we're dealing with a movie. I don't know how much of you guys mentioned in the comments how much of you guys have watched the Apple Dumpling Gang, but the Apple Dumpling Gang rides again is an awesome sequel to it. Let me first start out by saying what the Apple Dumpling Gang is. The Apple Dumpling Gang is a movie set in the Wild West. The main things that people like about it is, and what goes into the sequel, is that it has Don Knotts and Tim Conway playing as these thieves who are just really not the smartest. They're very dumb. For example, in the first one, there's a moment where they get caught by the cops, and the sheriff says, "Okay, you're gonna be hanged on this day. Make sure you bring your own rope." And they almost actually did it. They almost they actually asked the sheriff, "Where would I buy the rope for that?" They almost actually bought their own rope so they could be hanged. Because they're so stupid, they don't really think of that. But the funny thing is, so in the sequel is the follow-up to that. And it's now just following those two characters as they go on a little adventure. Basically what happens is, they are trying to open up a bank account. Because now they've turned away from crime. They're going to open up a bank account. And while they're opening the bank account, the bank gets robbed. And the robbers get away. And the only people who are left in the bank are them. So the sheriff of this town now, it's a new sheriff, thinks they're the ones who did it. So they try to escape. The only problem is their clumsiness. They on accident knock some stuff over, do some stuff like that, and they harm the sheriff. So now the sheriff has put out a warrant for their arrest. They're like, we need to get back this money. They came on a donkey, and the robbers trying to get away by putting some of their money on this donkey and stealing the donkey as well. But the donkey managed to get away from them and wander back. So now these two characters, the main characters, manage to get this money back, right? So then they decide, okay, let's give this money back to the bank. But they can't go into the bank because the sheriff would see them and arrest them. So they get on a roof above the bank, and they slide it down and they use a rope to slide it down into the bank. The only problem is the sheriff was in the bank, and on accident hit the sheriff. He knocked into the counter, broke his neck, but he survived, right? So now he has a broken neck. He has an even bigger problem with these people. Now he's going to do everything in his power to kill these two men. So then the rest of the movie is them trying to run from him. They on accident join the military, do stuff like that. It's a hilarious movie, very funny. It's one of those, Three Stooges type movies. And it's a lot of fun to watch. If you guys haven't seen the first Apple Dumpling Game, check it out. It has these two characters, but also has other characters in it. And if you have seen the original, but you haven't seen this one yet, it's really worth checking out because most people's their favorite part about the original were these two characters. And now this movie is just these two characters, being these two characters. And it's a lot of fun. So this movie really stands up to the original. It really continues on the story that you wanted to see of these two characters. So if you haven't seen this movie yet, please check it out. The Apple Dumpling Gang Rides Again is a lot of fun.
Number 6, Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I've talked about this before. It's not my favorite of the Captain America movies. As it goes to a sequel to the original, it's really good. It continues on the character of Captain America. You really see him grown in this, from the naive character in the first movie to now he has to learn that the world is not black and white, and that there can be bad things happening in the U.S. government and places that he thinks will just pure good. You really see that. It also has the return of, it has the Winter Soldier in it. For those who don't know who the Winter Soldier is, I won't spoil it. But It's a lot of fun. This Winter Soldier, he's a very cool. He's very he builds on the character of Captain America. I won't spoil why, but when you watch it, you'll see why. So as a follow-up to the original, it's really good. Yeah. So overall, this is a really good story. The story is awesome. The action is awesome. The characters are fun. You really like the returning characters from the first movie, like Captain America. There's some really cool scenes where he goes and visits Peggy Carter. It's a lot of fun. It's a very fun movie, but also very it has some very sad moments in this movie too. So if you haven't seen this one yet, and you've only seen the original, or if you haven't seen the original either watch the original and then watch this, because this movie's awesome.
Number 5, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
The Chamber of Secrets is probably, when I first watched the Harry Potter movies, probably my favorite Harry Potter movie. It's a very enjoyable movie. Again, it falls into the same category as a lot of the TV shows I like of mystery. Even a couple things on this list were in the mystery category. So as a mystery story, it's really fun. It basically, for those who haven't watched this, I won't spoil anything about it, but basically, Harry Potter goes back to Hogwarts, but a little bit into his year there. There's a message written on the wall saying, I think it's something like the enemy, like the Chamber of Secrets has been opened. The enemy of the pure blood will soon die. It's something like that. I would have to look it up again and see what the exact words were. I bet I'm going to get some Harry Potter fans to type in the comments. It was this and it was that and all that. But basically, the whole point is that now Harry Potter wants to try to solve this mystery and figure out what is the Chamber of Secrets. Why are the random people going missing? Who is this person that's opening the Chamber of Secrets? All that, right? And it's out of all, when I first watched them, as I said, this is probably my favorite of all the Harry Potter movies because I really liked the mystery aspect. Come to think of it, all the Harry Potter movies have somewhat of a mystery aspect to them in ways, but this is probably the one with the most of a mystery aspect to it, for movie-wise, and it's really, really good. The villain in the story is awesome. What it sets up for the rest of the whole franchise is awesome. But even as just a follow-up to the Philosopher's Stone, it's really, really good. It's really, really good. It's continues on this character, and you see him going on to his second year. See how it was like on his second, seeing what it was like going back to Hogwarts now that he had friends, and he was going in with this idea of, he has friends now. He feels safe at Hogwarts now. So overall, if you haven't seen Chamber of Secrets yet, check out it. It's really good. It's a great follow-up to the Philosopher's Stone, and it's a great setup for all the rest of the movies.
Number 4, The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight is one of the greatest sequels ever. It does a great job continuing on the character of Batman and of Bruce Wayne. The add-ons and the villain in this movie is really, really good. As I talked about before, I wish they had done more with the Joker than they did, but for what they did with the Joker, he's really, really good. It's almost one of those ways where, based on how good he was, I wanted to see more of this Joker, because he could have been better. I could have seen more scenes with him. I wanted to see more with this character than I did. So overall, that's the biggest problem I have with this. As follow-ups go, it's really, really good. For people who like the original, watching this, they're like, yeah, this is really, really good. I remember watching it and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I personally actually like the first one better, but the fact of the matter is, this one's really, really good. It's a masterpiece. Well, the original one, I can't say it's a masterpiece, I just like it better. This one's a masterpiece. This is awesome. The story of this is awesome. The ending with that one villain who just gets set up and gets killed immediately was kind of stupid, but besides that, the story's really good. And the follow-up goes, it's really, really good. If you haven't seen, please watch Batman Begins. But if you have seen Batman Begins and you haven't bothered checking out The Dark Knight, it's a must watch. It's really, really, really good.
Number 3, The Glass Onion.
Glass Onion, Knives Out's mystery, is a really, really good movie. I talked about this in a previous video, how much I like this movie. But as follow-ups go, it's really, really good. Especially because what it does is, when you're dealing with a movie like Knives Out, the whole point of Knives Out when you're dealing with a movie like Knives Out, it was made to avert expectations. So everyone was going into that movie saying, okay, so this is when they're going to avert expectations. This is what we need to make sure to, do. And so they're averting expectations. Okay, we need to make sure to. So they're averting expectations. Okay, so it's going to just do the same thing in this one, right? But in this movie, as I said before, it averts your averted expectations. It says, okay, so you're expecting this. Well, we're not doing this. Or are we doing this? You don't know. It's really good with that. It's just like, it's different from the original, but it also stays true to the original. Do I think it's better than the original? No. Most of these movies, I don't think they're better than the original. But as movies go, this was a great follow-up to the original. And if you haven't seen it yet, please check out The Glass Onion. It's a great murder mystery.
Number 2, Top Gun Maverick.
I also talked about it in a previous video, but Top Gun Maverick is awesome. It's probably the best movie of 2023. It's really, really, really good. As follow-ups go, it does a great job, right? You really feel like this sequel, after watching the sequel, you're like, oh yeah, this sequel was almost necessary. I mean, it builds on the character of Maverick, and even builds on the character of Goose in a way. While Goose is, spoiler alert for the original, Goose is dead. You really see his son Rooster. I mean, how Rooster's really angry at Maverick for pulling him back, by holding him back, because Maverick wanted him to, he wanted to keep him safe, because he blames himself for killing his father. He wanted to keep Rooster safe, so he pushed him back. He pushed him back in the ranks so that he had to redo all that again, so he wouldn't get killed. Was it the best option? No. But I really like it how you see the relationship between Rooster and Maverick in this movie. It does a great job of that. The other characters in this movie is a lot of fun. The whole movie is just, it's a true American movie. As it goes, it's a really good movie. As a follow-up, it's an incredible follow-up movie. If you have seen the original and you haven't seen this one yet, if you really like Top Gun, you should watch Top Gun Maverick. It's the best form of fan service you could ever get from a movie, in my mind.
Number 1, The Two Towers.
Okay, number 1. This is very much expected, but of course number 1 will be The Two Towers. Because The Two Towers is just, it's the sequel. It's the second book. It's the second movie in the Lord of the Rings series. The best trilogy ever. Is it the best? Does it do a great job of continuing on the story? Yes. Does it build on to the story? Yes. Does it introduce new characters? Yes. Does it, you get the point. Yes. Does it have flaws? Yes. It also has flaws. Yes. That's right. But the fact of the matter is, it's a movie. And the flaws it makes sometimes are annoying. But overall, after watching The Fellowship of the Ring, you really can't wait to see The Two Towers. The Two Towers is really, really good. It's a great follow-up. Has some great action scenes. I don't know what else to say besides it's really, really good. As a follow-up, Peter Jackson, you did a great job with setting up, with continuing on the story. Now, of course, you did have the source material of The Two Towers to go off of, but it felt like the same world that you had in the original, and you did a really great job continuing on the story. Now, yes, you did have help from the books, but great job with what you did. So that's my list. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me, list down below what your ones. Tell me if there's any on this list that you really think were terrible sequels. And see if you guys can manage to put a paragraph or something like that and explain why. I would love to see that. These are the movies I like. You can have different opinions. If you want to see more videos like this, please like, share, and subscribe so we can get more viewers. We can reach more creative minds. Remember, we want to try to reach our 1,000 subscribers mark because I have a very special surprise. But actually, I'm planning on trying to do something special for 100 subscribers. And this is what I'm planning on doing. Is I'm going to allow you guys can start it now. You write down in the comments below questions. It can be personal questions. It can be questions on movies, any of those, right? And I will try to answer 100 of those questions in a very quick type thing where it's just the question, the answer. The question, the answer, because 100 questions is a lot. But for once we reach 100 subscribers, I will answer 100 of those questions. And then once we reach 500 subscribers, I will actually leave it up to you guys. We will do something special, but I will actually leave it up to you guys to decide what we should do. Share with your friends, right? We have 23 subscribers, right? Even if every subscriber only shared with 5 people, managed to get 5 people to subscribe, 23 times 5 is 115. That's already above the amount that I need then to get to our next milestone where I can answer those 100 questions. All you have to do, guys, is share it with 5 people. And those people you share it with. And if they subscribe and we manage to get to 100 subscribers by next week, I'll put out a video next week even. It's just saying, hey, I'll answer you guys 100 questions. Think of 100 questions you guys can ask me, right? And leave them in the comments below. And I will try to answer as much of them. And I will try to answer 100 of them. I'll pick my favorite 100. Hopefully we can get to 100 questions. If we can't get to 100 questions, I will say I will do as much questions as we have right now. And then once we reach, then I'll do another video where I finish the 100 once we have 100 questions. But hopefully we can get to 100 questions before that. But again, as I was saying, 5 people. Try to share with 5 people. Actually, even better yet, try to share with 10 people. Because then we can get to, then that's already 230 new subscribers. But if you can only manage to think of 5 people you can share with those 5 people. If we only get for each subscriber we get 5 new subscribers, we will reach our milestone that we need to do. We will reach the milestone to watch our next video. All you have to do is just say, hey, Bob, hey, Jeff, hey, Samantha, look at this channel. I thought you would like this channel. Can you please subscribe to it? Boom, right? And then already we have, from those 3 people, we now are at 26, right? And let's just say even if everyone only, and then that same person just says, okay, Mary and Martha, here you go. There you go. Now that person just got to 5, right? Then you have the next person getting 5. You have the next person getting 5. After 23 people getting 5, we will reach the milestone. And the other thing is then once those people, right? Now we are at 100 people, right? If all 100 people just shared it with 5 friends, then we will be at 500, and we can do that special thing, right? Then after that, all we have to do is get all 500 of those people to share it with 5 friends. And guess what? And now we're at 2,500. So not even if all 500 people share with their friends. Even if it's only 2, even if it's just 300 people, that's already 1,500 new subscribers. You see what I'm saying? It's not that hard. As long as you guys can manage to find people who will be willing to subscribe, we will be able to grow this channel. You will be able to, once we reach those 100 subscribers, you can answer those. I'll answer 100 questions. They can be personal questions. They can't be inappropriate questions, but they can be questions like, what's your birthday? How many siblings do you? Different questions like that. They can be personal questions as long as they don't get into weird categories or what's your social security number, stuff like that. I'm willing to answer questions like that, because the fact of the matter is, I mean, yeah, it'll be fun to be able to relate to you guys more. So tell me in the comments what you guys think. Remember, try to get the 100. You only have to manage to get 5 people. 5 people. It's as easy as that. So thank you guys for watching. Remember, those 5 people. This has been the Movie Night Reviewer. Peter Wary, signing off.